Okay, you people sit tight, hold the fort, and keep the home fires burning. And if we're not back by dawn, call the president.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's a, shall we call it an inauguration for this channel? My very first review of a Hindi film. I've seen a couple of Hindi films actually before I walked into my Cineworld today on their super screen. Sat down on H12 and enjoyed the glorious almost 3 hours of pure spectacle and vision, which made me think to myself, dear Hollywood, modern day Hollywood, I know why your films are so shit, because it seems that India, which has been doing this for the longest of times anyway, and suddenly now, because no one likes modern day Hollywood films, they are turning to alternate sources of entertainment. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, Pathaan, starring Shah Rukh Khan, the legend himself, John Abraham, another legend, and Deepika Padukone. This is, wow, I hate to say this, but I'm gonna have to. Like the last few Daniel Craig James Bond films right after Casino Royale are complete dog doo-doo compared to this spectacle right here. For me to describe a film that is 170 minutes long is not going to do any justice at all. I'm actually surprised this is a PG-13. The action is brutal. Now, it's not brutal like you see bloodshed or limbs getting torn off, although at the beginning of the film you do get one guy whose arm gets broken, and it's pretty comical how it happens. I will say, like, with the choreography, some of it is a little bit edited so you don't see the full brutality of what's going on, but I guess this is Indian cinema, it's always been this way. I'm used to seeing things like The Raid, your traditional Hollywood action film where knuckles get busted and dusted. Will I call Pathaan a game changer? No. Will it raise eyebrows? Yes. Will Hollywood try to snatch the directors and the writers behind this film to try and do an American version of this? Please God, do not let that happen. And you've got to remember, these are family movies in India, so anybody can go along and watch these films with their parents, and you're not going to be embarrassed by anything that goes on. Although, mind you, speaking about that, I'll probably arrive at some point later on to talk about things that just blew my mind. And you know what? The reason why I went to watch Pathaan today, because it was recommended to me by one of my, or reminded to me rather, by one of my subscribers. And I'm going to read out the comment that actually said here. Following my recent video, Woke Tard News of the Week, Derkoun said the following. On the good news side for this week, I saw Pathaan in the cinema, based on the trailer reaction on this channel, and must give it the highest recommendation. If you want a great action movie with real men and women, get a ticket while you can. The thing you've got to remember about Hindi movies, Indian movies in general, is that the male star, even the female star to a degree, they're invincible. They can get hurt, but they'll never die. So already you kind of know it's the scene that's set. It's Shah Rukh Khan. He is a beloved national treasure of India, and quite rightly so. I've only seen a few of these films, but honestly, after today, I want to check out this man's back catalogue. I think there's this thing in Indian cinema where you can't show excessive amounts of blood, but you can have over-the-top, bombastic, balls-out action, and this film gives it to you in spades. Believe me, at 170 minutes long, this film moves at a breakneck pace. It's just incredible. Like, whoever sat down and edited this film, they deserve a lot of props. And you know, the audience I was sat with, I mean, mainly Indian folk and a few other ethnicities too in that mixture. I kind of dug it. And people were not sniggering or laughing. Say 25, 30 years ago, if you put on an Indian film, the typical response, and yes, I am guilty of this as well, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to watch a film like that. The action's not real. It's nothing like what we see in Hollywood. And what are we doing now? In 2023, we are so disenchanted with modern day Hollywood, folks, that we're now watching alternate sources of entertainment. If it's not from South Korea, if it's not from China, it's now from India, because all of a sudden now, India is on the radar when it comes to filmmaking of truly excellent spectacle movies, I've got to say. John Abraham is the bad guy of the film, and you think that he might change his tune halfway through. No, he doesn't. Deepika Padukone, I've got to talk about her. I don't know much about her at all. I've heard a few things that she's kind of hated in India at the moment. I don't know why. I don't know her personal affairs, but from the limited interviews I've seen of her, and she's been with Vogue magazine, she seems like a very personable woman, actually. I don't see what's the matter. And she's a singer. I haven't actually heard her sing, but I will say this much. She is a delight. She is a feast for my eyes, for the male gaze. And I think this is the thing you've got to talk about with Hindi cinema. Like the handsome film star, the handsome male film star, and the great looking female co-star, the actress, they are there to be a delight for the male and female gazes. And I guess, Hollywood was doing this many, many years ago before it suddenly decided to go woke in the last few years, well, since 2016. And I'm glad that's a tradition that won't fade away. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Don't believe me? Check out AC/DC's album collection and you know exactly what I'm talking about. Pathaan is not afraid to borrow from other influences. I'm talking about beloved film genres like James Bond, Mission Impossible, right down to video games. I kid you not. In fact, the opening scene where Shah Rukh Khan grabs a gold-plated pump-action shotgun, that is straight out of a video game. I kid you not. But later on, there's this really lovely sequence where Deepika and Shah Rukh go to Russia. There's this beautiful mission where our male and female protagonists are trying to lure this contact to get a sample of his skin signature, shall we say. Now, I didn't know what was happening because the minute Deepika is on the screen in this incredibly sexy black evening dress. And of course, I'm getting flashbacks of Anna Diarmas from No Time to Die. And it's a very good comparison to make here because when she makes her entrance, I mean, literally, my mouth was just on the floor. Like, we already know this woman is good looking. She's unbelievably, sensationally sexy. But that black evening dress is something that accentuates just everything about her. She just looks the business. Later on, there's like a bit of a funny exchange between her and Shah Rukh Khan, and you don't know what's going on. It's like a bit of flirtation, but something else is revealed in that moment, and I thought, how come we don't see this in Mission Impossible, even though this film or this scene is influenced by that franchise, which to me, Mission Impossible is more of a James Bond franchise at this point. Jane Bond would ever be. Why do I say Jane Bond? Because it takes somebody like Phoebe Waller-Bridge to come on in to No Time to Die and to totally deconstruct our alpha male hero and make him Jane Bond. Well, we don't get that in this film, and you don't get it in any Indian film, come to think of it, because they're not bound down to identity politics. That's what this country's output has been for many, many years before you and I were itching our daddy's balls. And I will say, not just do we get a great moment like that, but the visual spectacle is over the top, as you'd expect it to be. I wouldn't have it any other way. And much later on, there's a scene involving a train, not a runaway train, but Shah Rukh Khan has this amazing one-shot handheld fight inside of a train carriage. It is stunning. It is incredible. It's as good as anything that John Wick has to offer. I kid you not. Let's not forget, folks, this is a PG-13 film. But much later on, Shah Rukh and this other guy that drops in to help him out, a cooperative, a friend of his, an old buddy from years gone by, he's the Indian version of Nathan Drake from Uncharted. Remember the Tom Holland Uncharted film last year, which flopped so hard I could hear my balls drop on the floor? Well, this is actually the Uncharted film that you never asked for, but you're getting anyway. It's a segment of Uncharted 2, Among Thieves, my favorite Uncharted game. Two eponymous heroes are walking on top of these trains. They're suddenly confronted by two armored goons who look like the Hellghast from Killzone with Gatling guns. I kid you not, it is almost a beat-for-beat scene from a section of Uncharted 2. And it just gets better after that because the train plummets off a track. Our two heroes are running in reverse, or rather they're running in the opposite direction as all the carriages fall down one by one. And I thought, you know what? Unless you're a gamer and unless you're familiar with Uncharted, you're not going to get that influence, that reference at all. Now, even the third act of Pathaan, you are reminded that this is a 1960s James Bond film. And I did see influences from GoldenEye, like its ending moments with Alex Trevelyan and Bond himself. There's a moment in this film that felt like it was influenced by that, but you can tell like that whole setting in the third act is straight out of a James Bond film. And that's where I think as well that Hollywood has always been observed by India. If you go to India, I'm sure people will tell you that their favorite films from Hollywood are the James Bond movies, maybe Arnold Schwarzenegger, maybe Stallone for sure. And it's just so refreshing to see that brought here and just being told by a different perspective. Now, at the top of this review, I have said that I've watched a couple of other Hindi films, namely RRR and KGF Chapter 1 on Amazon, which has been fantastic. I will get back to Amazon at the end of this review, by the way. Not great news, but we'll see how it all pans out. And I will say this much, that what I've seen so far has really impressed the hell out of me. Now, you know what? This gets me really, really excited for future Hindi releases because there are just two main songs in this film. Like the first song that drops like in the middle of the film, it's almost like a mating ritual. And rather than have a scene where he chats her up, gets to know her, it's told in a song and dance form. Of course, this is ably helped by the very shapely body of Miss Padukone in a yellow bikini. Yep, so much that's been impregnated into my mind, I can't get the yellow bikini out of my head. It's a sight to behold, folks, I'll just say that much. And her legs just seem to go on forever and a day. Now, I will get to Tom Cruise of all people, because I figured out what Tom has figured out for the longest of times, but it seems Hollywood is falling on deaf ears right now because they're struggling what to do with franchises that are over 80 years old. They don't want to go back and retell those comic book stories from Marvel because you know what? People don't want to know about those. We're going to tell our own versions where we totally emasculate the male characters and bring in identity politics because that's what the modern day audience wants. No, they don't. Tom Cruise has often said that he wants to entertain the audience. That's it. He doesn't go any further than that.
People are smart enough to understand what is logical and what is illogical. So some things are choreographed, it's stylized.
Of course.
And that they have crossed that thing and they know this is something which it is for entertainment. The emotion behind it is what they'll be absorbing. And they also want this kind of thing because they're paying for that entertainment and they feel, yes, we are getting into another world. But in cinema, we don't try to preach anything.
As always, thank you for allowing us to entertain you. It truly is the honor of a lifetime. Yeah.
You know, when I watched Pathaan and the more I think about it, there was so much world stakes at play because the main crux of the plot when you get to it is that two doctors are abducted and they have to manufacture a mutated version of smallpox and then spread havoc across the world. It is such a nail-biting, jaw-dropping spectacle that I can't remember since maybe Endgame that we got such world-class high stakes. But my god, John Abraham is such a douchebag in his film. He really is. And his action scenes with Khan are incredible. And you know what? Shah Rukh Khan, we've got to talk about this guy's body because bloody hell, man, this guy's au naturel. You can tell he's worked out for this role. This film will be streamed on Amazon at some point, maybe next month or maybe in March. Is there a chance that Amazon might choose to release this one day officially on Blu-ray? I don't know. This kind of gets me a bit worried. They're forcing you to watch this on Amazon. I could go down the torrents route and download my 20 gig 1080p file of this film, which I may have to do at some point. But it kind of leaves me in a bit of despair because I would like to own KGF chapters 1 and 2 on Blu-ray officially and any other film before this. And I don't know if I'm ever going to get a chance to own this on Blu-ray. I want to, but we'll see what happens. Maybe if Amazon listens to feedback, and they might eventually do that. But Pathaan, which has a limited release at Cineworld, so you should probably get down to watch it as soon as you can. You won't be disappointed. Make sure you watch this on the biggest screen possible, because I had it on my super screen and I was absolutely delighted. I hope I can go and watch it again one more time. But Hindi cinema, the way it is at the moment, if you want to see handsome, badass dudes, beautiful, sexy women who aren't afraid to be women, to be absolutely feminine, gorgeous, not irritating with it, do go and watch films like this, because maybe, folks, maybe this is the future. Just go and watch more Hindi films, films from other foreign countries that give us something that we've all been complaining about in this sphere for the longest time. Dear Hollywood, I hate to break it to you, but you're slowly sinking into that quicksand more rapidly than you give yourself credit for. Keep being delusional, keep being narcissistic, keep having your actors going out there and giving you a bad reputation, and no one's going to feel sorry for you. So on that one, folks, if you enjoyed my review today for Pathaan Rasmalai, make sure you leave a like below, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and if I were you, and if you were me, I will see you on the next video.